Now to an I-Team exclusive. There are new questions about the police investigation into the dating app death of a young woman, Lauren Smith Fields, in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace delves into that mystery.
They wanted us to forget about our daughter, their sister, our loved one. They thought they was gonna just throw her away like she was
garbage.
Amid this family's anguish are emotions of outrage and disgust at how the Bridgeport Police Department has investigated the mysterious death of 23-year-old Lauren Smith Fields.
What is up, YouTube? It's your boy G11 back at it again with another episode of Homie Talk, where we have real discussion about real things happening right now. Now, as always, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'll give you a second. Perfect. Now that we've got formalities out of the way, I want to dig into the story. So you guys saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the opening video and the audio. If you guys aren't familiar, I covered this story about 3 weeks ago. This story is about a young lady named Lauren Smith Fields of Connecticut. She was 23 years old at the time, and the initial report that came out was that an older, unidentified white male had contacted the police to report that she was deceased. The family was just like flipping shit because that's the only information they got. They were trying to get in contact with police to get more information, and the detective at the time told the family that the person who called in, the older white male, was a nice guy and that they weren't investigating him further. If I were the family, I wouldn't take that as an answer either, because that sounds like a complete crock of shit, okay? How are you going to tell me that the last person who was with my daughter before she died is not a person of interest, not a suspect? Y'all just ain't investigating him, and he's a nice person? I don't want to hear that. That's absolute nonsense, okay? So the family did not take that for an answer, and they continued to dig and try to get answers from the Conneticut or the Bridgeport. So I have an article that has the most up-to-date stuff that's going on with this. We're going to go through it, and I'm going to give my opinion. So let's rock and roll, peeps. And here we are. This article comes from The Sun. I'll make sure I link it down in the description so you guys can give it a read yourselves should you choose to do so. So it starts off, she was a beautiful person. Who was Lauren Smith Fields and what was her cause of death? Published just today. Lauren Smith Fields' family is seeking justice after alleging that Bridgeport police mismanaged her death investigation. And I would completely agree with that. A complete mismanagement. Matthew LaFountain, a man she met on Bumble, discovered Smith Fields dead in her apartment on December 12th after a night of drinking. So this is the older white male that they identified as calling in. She was 23 years old when she was found dead. This section gives a little bit of background on her. She was 23. She was a YouTuber. She was on Instagram as well. She's an influencer basically. And she was found dead in her apartment on Plymouth Street in Connecticut on December 12th. She was a Stanford High School graduate who was attending Norwalk Community College at the time of her death, according to her family. She had desires to become a physical therapist and was going to school for that at the community college. And it's just some things about her family there. Let's really dig into the meat of this. How did she die? Smithfield's cause of death is undetermined and is pending further studies, according to the Daily Mail. And that statement comes from the Bridgeport police, I believe. Smithfield was reportedly drinking tequila at her apartment with Matthew LaFountain, a white man she met on the dating app Bumble, when she fell unwell and vomited, according to a Bridgeport police report. When Smithfields got a text and walked outside, the two kept drinking late into the night. Still don't know what that text is. Her phone is in custody of the police, so they're probably doing some type of forensic part on that. Okay. According to the incident report received by Rolling Stone, she walked outside to fetch something from her brother, then returned and went to the restroom for many minutes. If I can keep it $150 with y'all, she might have gone out to get some drugs or something. Let's just keep it $150. We know young people get involved in a lot of stuff, but she might have stepped outside to grab something from her dealer. I don't think it was her brother, because like I said, neither one of them has mentioned anything, and this is just speculation, okay? So don't take what I'm saying about that particular moment as fact, but this is just speculation. According to the police report, her date LaFountain subsequently told an officer he thought it was odd, but didn't feel it was his place to say anything as he didn't know her that well. After seeing blood flowing out of Smithfield's right nostril and seeing she wasn't breathing, LaFountain contacted 911 the next morning. So what happened? They had their drinks, they watched some movies, she went out, she got something, she came back. They fell asleep, allegedly, according to him. And next morning he wakes up, she's dead. It's kind of a sus story, not gonna lie. According to the police report, Smithfield was declared dead at 6:49 a.m. and medical staff stated she had been dead for at least an hour. So it's kind of weird, and that's a picture of Lauren there. So now we get into the update to this story, right? We knew the previous part before, but here's the update to the story. Her family is suing the city of Bridgeport. Why are they doing this? So they are dissatisfied with the way local police are treating the investigation into her, saying that the detective urged them to cease calling him and was disinterested in investigating LaFountain as a suspect, whom they characterized as an older white man. Let's read this next part and then I'll give a little break. When I asked the officer about the guy, said Jeter to NBC Conneticut, he said he was a very nice guy and they weren't looking into him anymore. It was almost like he was sticking up for him, and it seemed weird to hear that from a detective. And he's right. That is weird to hear that from a detective. Who? Now listen. I don't know any police directly, nor do I know if I have any in my family, not affiliated. I don't understand their practices. But to me, that seems like an odd thing to say to the family of the deceased when you're conducting the investigation. You're going to tell them that the last person who was with their loved one before they expired is a nice guy and you're not investigating him? What kind of bullshit is that? Okay, that is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And if I were the brother, if I were the family, I would lose my shit as well. I would absolutely lose my shit if the detective said that to me, because that does sound like a biased thing. Oh, he's a nice guy. We're not worried about him. What you mean? Everyone should be a suspect. So this is the brother talking still. He told me directly on the phone to stop calling him and to hung up in my face. It was just like total disrespect. Like, that's what you tell a family that's going through grief and trying to find answers? 100% on board, brother. 100% on board. I would have felt the disrespect too, and I would have asked that same question. Like, the family just wants closure. They want to know what went down, and so that they can take the proper action to grieve. Prosecution can happen if it needs to, and they can move forward. Jeter also claimed that police were not diligent in their first crime scene investigation. Oh man. Claiming that while police seized her phone, passport, and $1,300 in cash, they failed to gather potentially relevant items. This is sketchy here. This is where it gets a little weird. Smithfield's mother, Chantel Smith, also claimed that police made her feel as though the investigation was unimportant. In the same interview, she said the way they talked to me, the way they have talked to the family, how they treated my daughter, they treated her like she was nobody, like she wasn't even important. And I can feel that as a parent. You want to make sure that the police are doing everything they can to figure out what happened. No parent wants to bury their own kids. Our kids are supposed to outlive us. They're the next generation. And to have to bury them and not even know why. Can you imagine what was going through her mind? I can't. I have never experienced that, nor do I want to. but she's just wanting some closure, and I can imagine the grief is just unbearable at this point, and to not get police cooperation in this matter is just not acceptable. Smithfield's family has filed a notice of intent to sue over the Bridgeport Police Department's handling of the case, as they should. Now, the attorney is accusing the police of potentially concealing evidence and failing to properly investigate. The December 12th, he calls it a killing we don't know for sure yet, in a letter sent to the Bridgeport City Clerk and Police Department on Friday, although this has not been proven. The police department has been racially insensitive to this family and has treated this family with no respect and has violated their civil rights, the attorney wrote. It's just further statements from him below and from the police department, basically saying nothing. But I don't know, y'all. I just think this case was weird from the beginning when I initially covered it. There's not a lot of facts. All we have is older white man calling it in and the original detective saying he's a nice guy. And we have Lauren Smith deceased. I think this has been grossly mismanaged by the police department. 100%. And the family is doing the right thing in pursuing legal action. Because at the end of the day, they want to know what happened to Lauren. They need that closure, and prosecution needs to happen if someone indeed killed her. Point blank, period. Anyways, guys, that's my take on the story. I want to know what you guys think. Was my analysis right? Is it wrong? Am I missing pieces of information here? It's never my intent to misreport anything or give false statements. Y'all know over here, we have facts and data and articles and things to support what we talk about over here, okay? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hit the like and subscribe button for the YouTube algorithm if you haven't already. And until next time, y'all, peace.